Hi, this is David with the Discount Dragon Studios, and once again we're talking about molds. We've done a few videos about building molds, so I, in between videos, have finished up the molds we were working on, and now we get to see how they work. So this is the first one. I already added the hard shell, and I put in the polymer clay and baked it. So we're going to take off the hard shell and see how it turned out. Hard shell, and then we take off the flexible part of the mold. I have not looked at this ahead of time, so I get to see if it turned out good at the same time you guys do. It's nice and flexible. And there we have it. I used just whatever clay. I'm going to be painting it anyway, and I'm also going to be sculpting this further. So there we have it. We have a skull fragment that came out successful. I think the detail was captured pretty well. And this is an intermediary mold, so I am going to be working on it further in order to make the final version of this piece of artwork. I'm going to give it vampire teeth, and I'm going to give some more detail work to it, but I think it's coming along nicely. So we have a mold for this. And we've got the hard backing, which keeps it in place and keeps it from wiggling around. That was completely successful. So we'll set that there. And this is Fimo or Sculpey. I think it might be a mix of both because I just grabbed whatever. Alright, so the next one we've got is our Cthulhu skull mold. This was the original. And we are making the mold because I'm going to add additional detail to this. And I wanted to get another piece that I could work off of easily. So as you can see, we added a hard shell onto this. And this one we're not casting in polymer clay, we're casting this in Durham's Rock Hard Putty, which is this stuff. So we had this spout at the top to pour the Rock Hard Putty into in a liquid form, and then it hardened. Now, the way this spout is designed, you just tilt it a little bit, it snaps down at the base, and then since it's cone-shaped, you can just pull it directly out of here. So there's less maneuvering than you might think. So the sprue, which is that piece, is gone. Then we've got the hard shell, got this one here, hole for the sprue to come through, well, the sprue funnel. Probably not the right term. Then we've got the other half of the shell, and now we get to the exciting bit. Did it turn out okay? Oh! Yeah, it turned out very nicely. So we've got a nice reproduction of the original, and since it's in Durham's Rock Hard Putty, this is going to be very nice to carve, and also I'm going to work over this with additional Fimo or Sculpey to add the final details into it. And then once I'm finished, I'll make a final mold of the finished piece. So once again, we have a completely successful mold there. Now with this, once you've got it together, since we're pouring a material into it, rather than pressing a material into it like you would with a press mold, you want to make sure that you get all the air bubbles out of it. So pouring a plaster or a resin or something like that into a mold like this, first you need to seal it very well. That's what the rubber bands are there for, to add tension. But then also you need to make sure that you work the air bubbles out of it, which you do by shaking it or vibrating it. So you would fill this up and then get like a vibrating mechanism to shake the bubbles out. They'll come to the top, and you just keep on doing that until you don't get any more bubbles. You also tilt it around a little bit to work the bubbles out of the mold, and obviously we did a pretty good job of it. So we've got that one, and then this is one that I have made previously. I just wanted to show you. This is the working mold for my dragon claws. I've got the hard shell again, and the inner rubbery shell out of the amazing mold putty. And this is one that I made today. And let me just pull it out of here. As you can see, there is this flashing on the side which you have to take off, usually with an X-Acto knife. But it's very easy to capture good detail. And then once you take the flashing off, you end up with something like this. As you can see, the detail came out very nicely on that. And then you paint it, frame it, and you end up with that. So it's a pretty easy way to reproduce your art. In this one, what you do is you take the Fimo or Sculpey and just squish it down in there. And once again, if you use a piece of plastic bag, it'll keep your fingers from sticking. But you work it down into the mold until it's filled up even with the top of the mold. Then you do that with the other side of the mold as well. Slap them together, press down really hard, which will cause this to kind of ooze out at the sides, but this is going to be removed anyway. You press down really hard, kind of work it in there, then you pull off the top part because you don't need that for baking. You take this and put it in your oven for about, I usually do it about 15 minutes. Then I remove the top part and then bake it a little bit more to firm this up. Then I pull this part out, flip it over, and bake it even more, just to finish it up. So this actually needs a little more baking once I get done with the video. So we've covered a bunch of different molds, and if you have any other questions, let me know. Also, I will be, of course, doing more videos in the future. Talk to you later. Bye.